Alright, here's our moment. Cliff dive. And we got the high roll on this card. So I'm pretty impressed. And we actually do have just enough for a nice turn 6 lethal. We even have a little 2 damage to spare with the location. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Maestro, and we're here with a quick deck overview of the Cliff Dive Demon Hunter. Today is the first day of the Perils in Paradise expansion. I didn't do a lot of deck planning beforehand, so I was kind of just looking around and just kind of on a whim, I decided to maybe make Demon Hunter kind of deck first as my first deck of the new expansion series. Basically for this deck, we are going to be using the new card Cliff Dive to summon 2 minions from our deck, give them rush, they go back at the end of the turn. And the 2 minions that we really want to draw off of Cliff Dive are Illidari Inquisitor, which we have 2 of, or the All-Terrain Voidhound. Because basically the idea is to play Cliff Dive and then we can use All-Terrain Voidhound to give our hero attack and then attack the opponent's face, and then maybe follow that up with Illidari Inquisitor to also go into face. So actually you can get like if you get 2 Illidari Inquisitors off Cliff Dive, you're looking at like 16 damage to face. So that's kind of the main like gimmick of this deck. It is a little bit more of a gimmick deck, but hopefully you get to see some cards that are not really played as often. Like for example, from the previous expansion Blind Box, I don't know how often this card was played, but it actually works really well in this deck because literally these are the only 2 minions we have in this deck. All the rest are spells and weapons. So this is really great for discovering some really useful demons. Like the Abyssal Bassist is really good because we have basically 3 other weapons: Quick Pick, Umberwing, and Umpire's Grasp. So we're going to be equipping lots of weapons. So if we discover Abyssal Bassist, that's great. Also Window Shopper is great to get off of Blind Box. We also have a few other new cards from Perils in Paradise, including Dangerous Cliffside, which is great because we're going to be attacking with our hero a lot, and this is basically 6 damage for 4 mana, so it's like kind of like a fireball in a way. At least that's how we're using it. And we also have the Sigil of Skydiving, which is 2 mana summon 3 1/1 pirates with charge. So just kind of finding other locations and spells to give us as much damage as we can. Since this is a very aggressive deck, we want to be mostly just going for the opponent's face in the early game, and then hopefully we can close out like around turn 6, 7, or 8 with Cliff Dive. So I do have a few games to show you guys. Hope you enjoy. Alright, so this is our first game against Hunter. This is actually the first game I ever played with this deck. And so this is not the final version. I actually tried experimenting with Arana Thrillseeker, which is the tourist card for Demon Hunter that goes into Priest. So that's why you're going to see some Priest cards. And that was just kind of like for fun, just to like kind of obviously experiment and see how things are. I actually opted to not include Arana Thrillseeker in the end, just because she could interfere with some like cliff diving synergy if she's the one that gets pulled. Yeah, this game like somehow worked out, you know, in the end. So I'm happy for that. I got pretty lucky, I will say. So, yep, that's Arana Thrillseeker. Maybe I'll make like another deck video over like kind of a deck that's built around her a little bit more. So the early game is, yeah, pretty much trying to get as much chip damage into the opponent's face. Luckily they're not doing much right now. Okay, they do have that. Okay, that's the money card, Cliff Dive. So I think like the plan is gonna be like for me next turn play Umpire's Grasp, and so that way I'll have a weapon to attack with, and then turn 6 I'll go on Cliff Dive. Alright, so we're getting ready. We got our weapon. Go ahead, click that location. Okay, it looks pretty good to go in next turn. Alright, here's our moment. Cliff Dive. And we got the high roll on this card, so I'm pretty impressed. And we actually do have just enough for a nice turn 6 lethal. We even have a little 2 damage to spare with the location. So that's one example of like this card kind of high rolling. Obviously that's not going to happen all the time, and for situations where like you don't draw Cliff Dive, it's really hard to say if this deck has like a chance at winning. So yeah, Cliff Dive is definitely like the most important card. A little bit gimmicky, but I mean, you'll catch a few people off guard. They're not expecting like this kind of gimmicky Demon Hunter deck, so you know. So here's kind of a challenge with Warrior because they're gonna gain a lot of armor. So the question is, who's gonna be faster? Them gaining armor or me like being aggressive? And they got their Druid Tourist card. I'm wondering if they are like the Sandwich Warrior with like the Rye Cleaver. But yeah, hopefully like this deck has a pretty narrow window of like winning. Like if your opponent is playing like a control value deck and they get like up to like turn 9, turn 10, like after that, like you're definitely getting outvalued. So yeah, you want to try be like as aggressive and mid-rangey with this deck as you can. I'm gonna hold my weapon here. Gaining some armor. So I think next turn is gonna be Coin Cliff Dive, and what's really nice is that they have 2 minions for me to attack into, which is the ideal situation. Alright, so we got Illidari and the new card, but that's gonna be just fine. Because new card's gonna give us some attack there. And then we're just gonna swing for a casual 21 damage. Wait, no, it was 19 damage off of the Cliff Dive. So So they got 14 health left. I think I really lucky high roll another cliff dive. Like, this is obviously the card that the deck is based around. And I'm just so impressed that, yeah, we get another very lucky turn 6 lethal before Warrior gets going. So that's kind of the goal, is just be fast with this deck, as fast as you can, because you're cliff diving. You want to cliff... Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. You want to always keep cliff diving your mulligan. Going up against Excavate Rogue. I'm already kind of planning my turns out. It's nice that I have 2 weapons because I can Umber Wing, swing twice with that, and then Umpire's Grasp, and then save like one of the swings of the Umpire's Grasp for the cliff dive, which is nice. There's our new card. Yep, just going face all the time. Luckily, this rogue is a little bit slow to get started. Yeah, I wonder what they're holding. Yep, got our weapon. Okay, we'll go ahead and swing once with the weapon and save another swing for the cliff dive. Okay, it's good to see that they have 1 minion on board. So hopefully I get at least one of the Illidar Inquisitors and I get both. Again, high rolling, really lucky. Yeah, nice turn 5 lethal there. So yeah, I will say, like, yeah, this deck is pretty dependent on if you can just basically draw cliff dive and play cliff dive. I mean, like, even if you don't win off of the cliff dive turn, like, there's still a little bit of gas left in this deck. We're gonna see that in like some of the later games. Like, you can still win, like, going into like turn 8 or something. And I'm just trying to equip all my weapons first, because this is also gonna help us if what was I gonna say? If we want to discover an Abyssal Bassist off of Blind Box. Yeah. Okay, it's like another Excavate Rogue. Right. So right here, I think the Battle Fiend is just like a more playable card, and then there's Abyssal Bassist. So that's ready to go for 3 mana, which is really good. And we can't leave that Crystal Geodude guy, I forget what it's called. Okay, so there's another weapon, which is really nice, because I think we just equip that weapon and then we get our abyssal basis reduced even more. So this, the blind box is actually really great for us. Gets us a lot of really useful minions. Okay, they've already excavated their treasure. Let me know if I'm going a little too fast here. Now that I'm like seeing this after I'm editing it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a little fast to follow sometimes. I think I'm just trying to go for as much damage as I can. Yeah, and just, again, send it all the face. I think I do miss a swing on the Battle Fiend, but they're almost down to 0. They get their Ziliacs. Yeah, I think the reason I didn't play Cliff Dive before this was because I didn't have a weapon. So if I'm gonna play Cliff Dive, yeah, because I might like pull both of the Inquisitors, so I need a weapon to make sure that my hero can swing. Alright, game 5 with the Elemental Mage. I think this was one of the more challenging games. Yeah, as we get onto like game 5, 6, 7, like we're gonna have to fight a little bit more. We don't see our Cliff Dive in our opening hand, but we do see our blind box on the far left side, which is really nice. Get our weapon out. Pretty standard stuff. You guys know how it works. I'm always scared of like the Tainted Remnant when they decide to play that. We do get the quick draw off the Pocket Sand, which makes their next card cost 1 more. I think they just throw the coin here. And they still have the Tainted Remnant. Literally one of the scariest elementals. I think we do have enough to take care of the Tainted Remnant though, which is nice. We get to send a nice bit of damage to their face as well. Still no Cliff Dive, but we're gonna figure it out, you know? That's how life is. I think, yeah, Abyssal Bassist and Window Shopper. Those are... So sometimes you do get like these really great demons off of a blind box. Because after we equip Umpire's Grasp, that's going to be another weapon to help reduce our Abyssal Bassist. There's a new card, also an Elemental. It's a 2/10. Get another Abyssal Bassist off the Window Shopper, which we love to see. that a new elemental card? Oh, they're a tourist deck as well. I didn't realize. See, the opponent, they're the ones that are playing like the solid tourist decks. I'm over here playing like this gimmick deck. I think I'm pretty low on life total, so I don't want them to catch me off guard. So give us a little bit of life steal there. They're almost down to 0. So even next turn, like, yeah, I don't even need the cliff dive card because I can just plop down my Illidari Inquisitor and then it's game. Yeah, okay, so there you go. That's how you do this deck without Cliff Dive. Cliff Dive without the Cliff Dive is just aggressive Demon Hunter. Which I guess is like already a deck that exists. But that just goes to show, you know, you don't totally need the card. I think this was another pretty competitive game. Again, we're gonna obviously keep the Cliff Dive, the Mulligan. It's a great hand. Yep, the usual, as you guys know. Spell Mage is actually pretty competitive, I think. Especially with all of the light shows that they can sometimes cast. So gonna continue just playing as aggressively as we can here. Alright, so that water elemental is scary. Like, we need to like figure out a way to get rid of it, because if they just freeze our hero, like, that's kind of GG's. Like, we need to be able to attack with our hero. And we do have Tough Crowd to send the water elemental back to hand. A little bit of pressure off there. Continue just going face. Next turn we're good to coin our Cliff Dive. Yeah. They have a nice board of minions for us to attack into if we draw the All-Terrain Voidhound. Okay, cliff diving. Okay, so this is the alternative to Illidari Inquisitor, which is the new card. But still pretty good, right? Get a nice 11 damage to face. And they're gonna go back. The nice thing about Cliff Dive is that since the minions go back into your deck, you can just like you can play like 2 copies of Cliff Dive, which I think I do in like some of these games. We got their double light show there, so they have a lot of. This deck also has a lot of tempo. We got our location. And again, they're almost down to 0 health. They're pretty low on health, so I'm just trying to find as much damage as I possibly can. Yep. Send it all to face. Go ahead. I'm kind of hoping here that they don't run any taunt minions. And yeah, it's not really typical for, like, if they, first of all, if they have only spells in their deck, they're not gonna have minions. So they shouldn't really have any taunt minions. Yeah, so I think we managed to pull through in this one as well. So we didn't win off of the cliff dive, but the cliff dive definitely helped us. We're gonna get a lot of attack off Burning Heart here. And that's gonna be enough to just send it. Yep. Alright, so this is our last game against Cutlass Rogue. So this deck is known for lifesteal. So, you know, I'm already thinking like, okay, we're a little bit at a disadvantage. Especially if they like get a really big Cutlass. So again, we just have to, it's a race against time with all these decks. Just try to get them down as fast as you can. We have a really nice opening hand, which helps a lot. We do be cliff diving here. They don't have their Cutlass yet. And I do have... I think I debated choosing Wayward Sage here. But, like, corning the cliff dive next turn, I feel like that wouldn't be totally worth it. Because they would still be alive. Yeah, because they have their Cutlass now. Got our other weapon here. The blind box is very good. I think we'd use the Inquisitor here. Yeah. Good. Getting a lot of great demons off of blind box. Yeah, Observer of Secrets can be really tricky sometimes. We got our second cliff dive. Just great to see it. Love to see it. Right. So luckily we get one Illidari Inquisitor. We're gonna have a nice chunk of damage headed to their face. And of course they are going to restore a bunch of health, but you know, that's okay. We still have the firepower to keep going. Oh, we also have a... is that a Shaman Tourist? That actually makes a lot of sense. Like, to have Cutlass Rogue with a Tourist class, or a Tourist build. Because you already have cards from another class in your deck. I think I'm preparing to play Cliff Dive next turn. So we want to make sure that they have a minion, hopefully. So because I also have the Illidari Inquisitor in my hand, I want to save the swings. And we get really lucky off the Observer of Secrets. Observer of Mysteries. Card is a lot better than it looks. Especially when you just discover it. And we get Azurite Vein value. You know, is this possibly the meta for Azrai Vayne? Because the drinks are like now a part of... Because like the drinks you use once you get added to your hand. Yeah, I don't have much to play on this turn. I think we go cliff diving here. Yeah, because they have 2 minions. Okay. We kind of high roll there, which is nice. I forget what exactly I did. I did something kind of funky. It's probably not optimal, but... I mean, I think I just wanted like as much attack as possible. Casual 21 damage. Casual 21 damage to face, you know. I'm like so nervous here. I'm like counting down their mana. Like they have 5 mana to figure something out. Alright. And I think that is pretty much it. Yep. So we're gonna win off of the Illidar Inquisitor that was not in our main deck, but it was discovered. So blind box, you know, it gets us through the late game.